Wisdom, the final frontier to true knowledge. Welcome to Wisdom Trek, where our mission is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. Hello, my friend. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your captain on our journey to increase wisdom and create a living legacy. Thank you for joining us today as we explore wisdom on our second millennium of podcast. This is day 1462 of our trek, and it is time for our 3-minute mini trek called Humor Unplugged. Our Thursday podcast will provide you with a clean and short funny story to help you to lighten up and live a rich and satisfying life. Something to cheer you and give you a bit of levity in your life. We are told in Proverbs chapter 15, verse 30, a cheerful look brings joy to the heart. Good news makes for good health. We are also encouraged in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 22. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit saps a person's strength. Consider this your vitamin supplement of cheer for today. So let's jump right in with today's funny, which is titled, Forgive Your Enemies. In his Sunday sermon, Pastor Sam prepared a fiery sermon called Forgive Your Enemies. As he was finishing up his sermon, he pleaded with the congregation and asked, How many of you are willing to forgive your enemies? To Pastor Sam's amazement, only about half the congregation held up their hand. Not satisfied with the response, Pastor Sam went back into his sermon and harangued the congregation for another 20 minutes and then repeated his question, How many of you are willing to forgive your enemies? The response was better, but still only about 80% of the hands were raised. The lack of response lit a fire in Pastor Sam's belly, and he started back in for another 15 minutes and then repeated his question, How many of you are willing to forgive your enemies? Thinking that they may be there all day, everyone raised their hand, except for old Mr. Jones in the back pew. Pastor Sam stared at Mr. Jones and said, Mr. Jones, are you not willing to forgive your enemies? To which Mr. Jones replied, I don't have any enemies, Pastor. In a bit of a pompous tone, Pastor Sam asked, Mr. Jones, that's very unusual. How old are you? I'm 101, Mr. Jones replied. Still not being convinced, Pastor Sam said, Mr. Jones, please come down front and tell the congregation how a man can live to be 101 and not have an enemy in the world. Old Mr. Jones teetered down the aisle. Slowly he turned to face the congregation and smiled and said, I've outlived every one of them. I hope that brought a smile to your face today. If it did, pass that smile on to someone else. We could all use a kind smile each day. And our Thursday thought is, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong. And here's our verse for today, which is Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. Make allowances for each other's fault, and forgive everyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, you must forgive others. And just as you enjoy these nuggets of humor, please encourage your friends and family to join us and to come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. If you'd like to listen to any of the past 1,461 treks or read the Wisdom Journal, they are all available at wisdom-trek.com. And I encourage you to subscribe to Wisdom Trek on your favorite podcast player so that each day will be downloaded to you automatically. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow for Futuristic Friday.